One of my favorite songs of all time. They asked me recently in a very trivia interview, what song describes you? I said, Sia, Joy, I Call Life. That's the one. That's the song I love so much. But it's time to have the talk with PPDC, and they're here right now. Let's get back to the conversation that really matters right here on Nigeria Ether. Hello, good morning to you. This very day, good to see you. How are you today?
Good morning.
All right, so we've been tracking what the government can do and what the people can do and what everybody should do in order to keep up with the issue of implementation, which is something that is very important to your team side with the PPC. Maybe PPDC, maybe you want to say something about the PPDC for those who have never joined the show before, just to get a good idea.
Okay, the Public and Private Development Center is a citizen sector organization. We're interested in driving open governance. We want access to information open out there. We want access to information. We want citizens to have access to information. We want citizens to interact with the information that they receive. Go and monitor projects, check out projects, ask questions. So basically, this is what we're here to do.
Aha, so now that we've told you what the PPDC is about, let's now introduce the people that will be talking to us today on the program. Yes, access to information under the GOP commitment. That's under the OGP commitment. That's a very important one. Mercy Igwe is with us here today. She's the communications officer for PPDC. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mercy. Victoria Etim, program officer R2K, is also here with us. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
All right, it's always a delight to have two ladies talk to us anytime in Nigeria, especially on issues of governance and how it can be better. All right, so our main topic today is access to information under the OGP. That's the Open Governance Partnership now. Yes. Getting access to those information and knowing what to do with that information and doing it very well. Let's talk about when someone thinks of the OGP, the Open Governance Partnership, what comes to mind is, for example, the many times the presidents have had to travel, including the recent trip to places like London and just go back from France now, and how, it makes deals. For example, the deal with the London was where he signed up on the OGP initiative, right? For those who don't know about the OGDP, that's the Open Governance Partnership. Can you kindly explain a little bit about that? What does it entail?
Okay, the Open Governance Partnership is a global partnership that brings together government reformers and civil society leaders to create action plans that make government more inclusive, responsive and accountable to the citizens. So it's the government, like prior to this time, they make decisions, they tell citizens that this is how or these are the new rules we want out there. But this time with the OGP, it's like an opportunity for citizens to put in their own quota, or like citizen representatives. So civil societies are like representing, they are the voice for citizens, right? So the civil society leaders and the government sit in one room to create policies and guidelines that can guide some reforms in Nigeria. So these guidelines or these things that they make policies on are like fiscal transparency, access to information, anti-corruption, beneficial ownership. So policies around these areas is not just one person, which is the government, that sits down to make these decisions. So as representatives of citizens, we're also in the room to chip in our own quota to say, okay, this is how it works, and these are the policies you can make that will benefit the citizens and also make your rules happen.
Yeah, okay, so let me quickly ask Victoria. This is just an open-ended question, right, Victoria? And it's so interesting that, of course, every time a government of a country signs up to OGP somewhere in the world, there's always the growing phase. You start to moderate and change how things work in your government in order to, of course, remember behind your mind that you signed an OGP somewhere that says you're now going to be more transparent, you're going to carry the public along. Since 2016 or thereabout, Nigeria signed on to this, but let me just ask you mainly, I mean, what would be your perspective to how we've grown in our OGP life, thus far? Just, your ideas around some of those moments we have, right? Some areas we could also still improve on.
Well, I could say we're not where we were before, but in terms of growth, I think we still have a long way to go. But so far, like she said, civil society organizations and government institutions have, come together a number of times to ensure that OGP moves forward. I know that under the second action plan, we've had a number of states that have signed up to the OGP. So it's not just at the federal level, but it's also, moved into the state level. So we have states like Imo State, we have
Kaduna State.
Kaduna, yes, so they've it's slow, but slow and steady we're moving there.
I think Lagos State also joined the pack at some point in time. I think Lagos State also joined that. I'm not too sure. Yeah, but the bloodline of even getting the OGP to be successful, open government partnership is information and access to that information. That's the bloodline. And one would wonder, under the OGP commitments mentioned and access to information, which is our main focus to today's conversation, I'm wondering how far gone are we, in terms of commitment, in terms of complaint that government institutions are doing or not doing. How far gone are we?
So first of all, with the OGP, it has opened or thrown more light to the fact that government institutions need to open up information about contracting, about just information about a lot of things that they do, especially contracting, which is contracting is like an open space for corruption to thrive. So, which is why it's the main thing that you see maybe a lot of civil society requesting for, because if we don't have access to information about that PHC in a locality, you cannot ask questions. It's just like going to a law court without any strong argument. You will not win the case. So for you to go out and say, why is this PHC so shabby? Why don't we have access to water or stuff like that? You can only say that from your mind's eye or what you're saying.
I like that one.
You can only say from your mind's eye and what you're saying that this thing is not, it doesn't meet the specifics or it's not right. But you don't have information to know what was actually contracted or what's the money that was given for that particular project. You don't know whether water was inclusive. You don't know whether a bed space was inclusive. So access to information gives you clarity to know what you're asking for. Why is this like this? Because this amount of money was given for this project. Why are the specifications not met? So without information, you're just running like a blind person so that's why it's very important for us to have this information. And I would say that, of course, the PPDC, we have devised a lot of strategies and methods to fuel this access to information, to ensure that public institutions grant us access to this information. So we noticed initially that when we write to them, as in sometimes they don't budge or even respond or anything like that. So we came up with the Freedom of Information ranking, where we rank public institutions based on their openness, basically. And then if we find that an institution is not open or it's like every time we send you an information it's not open, we still reach out to those organizations and say, can we have a talk? Is it possible that you actually don't know that you're supposed to open up this information? We go to train them, we go to build their capacity, and sometimes we see a change. And then for those that remain they're not listening at all, then we have to go an extra mile to maybe sue to court and all that as stipulated by the act. But before we take that very long step, we actually embark on trainings, build capacity and all that. So I would say that out of the 100, we have we are getting to the point where institutions 70%, 70% institutions are opening up their
Mainly.
information. Yes.
So that's
And sorry,
Yes.
even the government, as in at government level, we go to states, Kaduna State, Ekiti State, they are becoming more open to release this information on their portals, and we have also developed some open contracting portals like the one in Ekiti and all that. We helped to build. We also built their capacity for that, and then you can see them populating the portals with information. So I would say that, but actually there's some form of progress.
In this case now, it looks like we have a few good examples and many bad examples. I must admit to that. But it's interesting that you do bring that up, and I was just thinking in my mind as well about access to information. One of the troubles that often comes along is if you approach an agency and they have no idea of what you're asking for. Madam, what do you want? What exactly are you asking? Should we open the whole library for you, or should we just dump the files on you? Is my Ogada just produced this set of papers and I'm here to just let you know? So sometimes even getting good knowledge for some of these agencies about information becomes very vital. Of course, the Freedom of Information Act, and of course they expected to have an officer mainly to provide some of these ideas. But let's talk about access to information and how that may be the biggest opening for corruption as well. Because you would agree with me that the more you know, they say sometimes that the more you know, the more you see, or the less you see, the more you don't know about how corruption, something like that, about how corruption can easily thrive. And at the interesting level is that people see the ones that are newspaper worthy, the headlines of corruption newspaper worthy, but the sweetest places I hear are the places where people don't know what they're looking at, what they should be looking at, what they should be looking out for, and many other factors of such. What's your take about how this can help fight corruption if at the local level, local government level and the likes of them, they get the chance to know what they're looking at and what to look out for? How can an open governance partnership really help out at this level in fighting corruption?
Okay, as we know, access to information is one of the action plans for open government partnership. And access to information basically gives you the power to ask, any government official or any government institution, whatever questions you have to ask or you want to know, without having to tell them why you would need to know. So if at whatever level in the country you can walk into any government office, you can walk to any government official, performing any government functions and see, how you doing this, how you're not doing this, what's going on, what's the outcome, how much money have you spent, who's handling what, without repercussions and all that. But then we've noticed that, on both sides, both on the demand side and, and on the other side, on the government side, we've noticed that we have, well, on the demand side, most people tell you, it's not going to work, we're in Nigeria, nothing is going to work. But then access to information is the one thing, or the one tool that you can use in fighting corruption, because there's nothing stopping you. Yes, there are a few exceptions to the questions you can ask, but there are few. It doesn't stop. Like she had mentioned, you can ask questions on budget, you can ask questions on open contracting, you can ask questions on extractive industries. We all know how the Nigerian extractive industries, functions. Nobody can really say what NNPC is doing or what NNPC is not doing, which, day in, day out. They actually tell you they are not a government, institution. So you're not allowed to ask them questions. I don't know if that has changed now, but but it is a tool that, if used properly, would go a long way to fight corruption. And Nigerians need to take advantage of it. I mean, the art is there too online. You don't need to go to any office to find it. You can find it on PPDC website. You can find it on RTK website. You can find it on, I think, Ministry of Justice website. A number of institutions, even NATI website has, So, I mean, it's a tool that we can use, and if used properly, it would really help Nigeria and its economy and its people.
And I do hear that sometimes, and this is for everybody who may choose to call in at this point in time, at a time where it's believed. Somebody sent me a message this morning. I said in the last 2 weeks, Family, you've not even spoken about contracts that were executed or not executed, or what road was launched, what ribbon was cut and not cut. And I realized that's true. I'm not seeing anybody cut ribbons recently in the news. Nobody's cutting ribbons apart from maybe one or two governors. Okay, I don't even want to mention that. but you know, it's not happening like before. But then you'd wonder about when local government chairman and the likes of them do tell you, we need more money to get this done, and we've started this contract, but it looks like the budget around this contract is not, the cap is not working, we need more money, and you're wondering, what exactly are you adding to? What was before? What is being added to? What information is out there? What did the contractor tell you is missing in action that you want to add something to? But the only thing we often see is the next thing is the ribbon is being cut, we've completed the project, and stories do follow through. But if you're out there this morning and you're wondering about how much information you can access and how you could use the information you access to keep up with what you're looking at in your localities, in different states of the Federation, let's hear from you this very morning on 0700-951-0000. That's the telephone number, okay? 0700-951-0000. And by the way, it's not just about your area. You could go around as well, understand how FOI works, read what somebody has written to inquire about certain things. That may just inspire you to find out what you need to write about as well. Good morning to you. All right, Benga, welcome to the show.
In government policy deliberation. I don't know if I'm correct. Now, I want to ask, this subsidy removal and increment in the light electricity charges is a government policy that affects the commonest man in Nigeria. Are they attempting the masses? And if they're attempting the masses, are we really sure, we really agree that subsidy should be removed at any level?
Okay, so it's interesting you bring that up, but you do know that fuel subsidy, there's no contract that we can bind it to measure whether it should be there or not. Because a lot of the focus of this conversation is about contracts, because it means there's a set date, there's an amount of money to track.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
Then, at what point did they join the contract? Is it from the pre-qualification process or just that this contract be awarded, it's executed? At what level did they really join it? Because transparency, corruption start from the beginning, the foundation. If you are not there when they are opening the bids and that, somebody can smuggle in something, and before you know it, you say, yeah, it's one the contract. It was not even from the beginning of the process, of the bidding process. So I want to know at what point did they come in?
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Benga. Okay, so let me go to Mercy on that one. What points does measurement, or should I say transparency, even begin?
Okay, so we are part of the bidding process. We go to monitor the bidding process and ensure that, the projects are contracted to the right persons. We're part of that process. And then we now meet again when the projects have been awarded and probably completed, or claim, like on paper it's completed. So we now go to those states or the project site where it is situated and monitor to see whether what is on ground matches what is on paper. And then we come back with our reports, do our necessary advocacy and all that.
Interesting thoughts. Okay, good morning to you. Oh dear, I apologize, we kept you on a little bit longer than we could have, but just calling back now, you have a question about this or comments about contracting process in Nigeria and the amount of information that details out what these contracts are about. Do you know what you're looking at? Do you know how much it's been talked about when you see those contracts on paper? Let's find out from you next. Good morning to you. I'm doing very well. Good to connect with you. Oh, Mimi from Area 11. Go on, please. Your question or comment about contracting.
Yeah, it's a pleasure speaking with you this morning. I'd like to talk about the PEP, the petrol.
But Mimi, that's not what. Oh, Mimi, that's not what we're talking about now, unfortunately. I'm sure there's a lot of conversation that would happen around PMS next week, but we're also looking at the other issues that have to do with contracts, okay, as it stands now. Different local governments, governors, everybody seems to want to call you up on board to come and see. In fact, you have the village dancers come around to dance around the project when the well is launched, but do you know how much those wells do cost. That's a major thing not to miss out on. Good morning to you.
Morning, family.
Good to connect with you. What's your name?
Maxman from Abuja.
All right, Maxman, let's go. Let's hear you.
So our guest there. PPDC is a necessity for any developing nation. Because whatever you are doing for the people should have the right to know how much it costs and monitor how it is being done. That is the only way the right thing can be done. Everything should not be left in the hand of the government. So they should keep it up,
All right.
They should keep it up. Check.
Thank you so much as well for your time. Okay, another caller is on board now. Good morning to you.
Good morning, family.
Good to have you on the show. What's your name?
Yes, it's Comrade Sam from FCT here.
All right, share with us your perspective to this conversation.
I want to ask if there is any contract going on in Abia State from Obuja Road to Aba to Obuja Road, Obuja Ndoki, passing the Huru. Is there any contract going on there? Because I've been wondering what the Commissioner of Information came on the radio. They said they have awarded it. So I just want to find out, please. Thank you.
All right. Interesting thoughts from you. We may even need to speak to the Commissioner of Information sometime soon. He's a good friend. We would reach out to him when we can. But let me allow the ladies to respond to this.
Okay, you can reach out to us. I'm going to drop our phone numbers at the end of the show, so you can reach out to us, and then we would follow up with the conversation. Because right now I'm not sure that information will be uploaded on budeshi.ng. So you can reach out and we can help you. If we don't have access to that information, we can help you gain access to it so that you know how much it was awarded for. Since you said the information minister said it has been awarded, so the commissioner said that it has been awarded. So if it has been awarded, definitely there should be information hanging around somewhere, so we can help you pluck it from the tree.
Yeah, okay, that's an excellent one. Okay, somebody else is also making his own question known right now. Good morning to you. Hello, good morning. Are you there? Oh no. Oh dear, the baby wants to talk to us. He wants to keep up with the contracts around this antenatal center to you. All right, well let's move on. Good morning to you. Hello, good morning. How are you today?
Good morning, this is Mr. Joe.
All right. Oh, dear. Mr. Joe's call did not stay long enough. It did drop off. Okay, so let me still ask about how citizens can get involved, okay, with regards to this. Because sometimes you won't know just live on radio where the contracts are, where to look. But sometimes you also need to go and look at where to look for what you're looking for. Hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear from you.
Okay. So you can go on budeshi.ng. A lot of contracting information, because when we request for this information and the whole thing that leads to the ranking process, before we get there, we scrape the data, clean all the data that has come in from these ministries, departments, and agencies, and upload on Budeshi. So budeshi.ng is somewhere that is open for all citizens to go and interact with the data, use the data, monitor if you want, and if you have any issues, there's like a chat menu or something under the Budeshi where you can chat with someone.
Oh, that's a chat box now.
Yeah, a chat box, and or you can also call for further direction or further, like if you have further inquiry. Yeah.
That's so cool. Okay, so that's one way of thinking about it. So the website is budeshi.ng, right? Yes. Okay, let's take on this call quickly before we round off. Yes, good morning to you. How are you today? Very well as well. The ladies are replying.
I want to ask you the name on the head concerning constituency process. You know who I'm talking about, right?
I don't know who you're talking about, too.
Okay, let me since you don't want to know the kind of people I'm talking about. They have constitutional projects which they execute. I think the constitution is the constitution for them. Your guests have the right to look into their books concerning those projects. Because I know for a fact that some of those projects have been touted to be projects for the boys. Second question.
have they been in any way harassed or scrutinized or even bounced back, blocked from doing their work? That's my question. My name is Igwe. Good morning.
All right, Jose, thanks. Okay, so the second question I did get clearly. The other one I was not too sure about it. Let's start from the second one, where you talked about if you've been, you've measured there's been measured resistance.
Yeah, definitely. It's a tough work we're dealing with. There has been openness at some point, and there have been definitely resistance. Yes,
Okay.
we've definitely had some issues. So sometimes too, even from citizens. Sometimes if you go to those places to monitor projects, they're like, no, you can't be here, all those kind of, like, they push you out. The other day, I was going through Budget's Twitter account, and they monitored this particular project. It was like a whole back and forth thread where like some people are saying that why didn't they go, because they said they went to monitor a project and they were asked to leave, right? And then someone now responded to say that's not possible, trying to defend the commissioner or stuff like that. But this is what we meant, and this is what we are saying. So if you have any way you can make, what we want to just see is the project and the exact state it is in, and that's what we are going to report. But a lot of rigmarole here and there, but
Yeah, but Victoria, let me make an attempt to paraphrase the first question you asked, which was a contract for the boys. If one were to think about it in some other way, I mean, some contracts are unnamed. We see the numbers, but then they don't have names, literally have no names. But we see the thing go up, come down, and then it's named subsequently after the project. How does one even measure or know what you're looking at? So you even say, oh, it's transparent enough in the first place.
First of all, every contract has where it starts from. So it has a start point, it has an originating point. So someone has to award the contract, whether it has a name or not. And in Nigeria, most times when you see a place where there's a contract, there's always a billboard, that says this is the contractor, this is the, this is who it was awarded to, and this is the contract. And most times you have addresses and phone numbers on there. It is your right to call those numbers and ask questions. It is your right to go to project office and ask questions. Whether it has a name or not, there's always a source. And so you go asking. You don't wait for them to bring the information to you. They will not bring it. So you don't wait for them to bring it and say, oh, this is what we're doing and this is who we gave you to and this is how much it costs. No, you need to go ask those questions. If not, most times they won't answer you. But then we've also had instances. So for example, some months ago in Imo, where we had a complaint where they said, oh, contracts, I can't remember the names of the area very well, where they had complained that contracts had been awarded in, to some places, but they didn't have those boards.
Okay.
So you couldn't ask questions. But then there's government. So there's so for example in Imo you have Bureau of Public Procurement and Pricing Intelligence. Ask questions there. Make a lot of noise. Even if you don't know where, just make a lot of noise. Somebody's going to respond. Negatively or positively, they will respond.
I think Daniel helped out by saying Dosier's first question was, can they also monitor and track constituency projects? I hope I'm right, Dosier. That's what the version of the first question you also had. Okay.
Yeah. I think first of all we need to realize that this money is not their money. It is our taxes translated to.
What are taxes to share?
Well, it's collective, so it's big. It's a bulk sum,
It's our money.
and then it's our money at the end of the day. So we are trying to. They want to use this money to make our lives better, provide PHCs, provide good schools. So it's a good attempt. It's a good thing that the government wants to do for us. But most times there are little foxes that spoil the vine, which is where civil society organizations come in to make sure that that vine is beautiful and those foxes don't spoil it. So basically, yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, that's one way of thinking about all this. Okay, we're pressed for time. We've got to realize how they can keep up with us.
Okay, so on Twitter, we're at Budeshi, at PP Monitor NG. So I'm going to say it again, at PP Monitor NG. The NG is in caps. And then our toll-free number, we have a toll-free number that you can call at any time and we'll definitely respond to you. So it's 0800-283-3744. I'll take it again, 0800-283-39. Sorry, 283-3744. And then our website is www.procurementmonitor.org, and our Budeshi.ng is there for you to interact with. A lot of data is on that platform and nobody seems to interact with it. Go and monitor projects. Investigative journalists, use it. Go and do your investigative stories. You find stuff on ground, I promise.
Your eyes will see. But you want to take that telephone number again, please, because somebody might have missed that number.
Okay. 0800 283-3744.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, sorry. It's 0800-283-3744. That's the number to call.
All right, Victoria, any final words? We've got about 30 seconds to round this off.
I would say that the fight is for everybody. It's not just for civil society organizations. Every citizen has to take part in it. You need to ask questions. You need to make a lot of noise. You need to get informed. With information comes power. You need to get informed. You need to know what's happening, and you can't sit and wait for information to come to you. You need to go looking for information, and we have the platforms for that.
Certainly. Victoria Etim is the program officer of R2K. Mercy Don Igwe is the communications officer for PPDC. Thank you so much for stopping by this morning. And of course, we've been having the conversation about access to information under the OGP, which is Open Government Partnerships, as we would have it. Yes, you want to add something?
And again, today is the end of the OGP week. So, yeah, that's why we are.
Okay, end of the OGP week. So please go on, check out the information you can. And maybe you would even find things you want to ask about even more. We'll see how all that plays out. Okay, thank you, Mercy and Victoria, for stopping by this morning.
Thank you so much.
All right, stay with us right here, Nigerian. If I've got something to break off your morning, I'm playing State of the Nation on Morning Crew.